Alrighty. Let's see if we can get this linear operating. The component came in the mail. This is what it looks like. That's a transistor. It's a large transistor. Anyways, I gotta secure it. I have to tighten this thing down first. I'm hoping this fixed the problem, but sometimes it gets to a point where it's unrepairable at a reasonable cost, as my friend Leo would always say to me. Leo used to own a CB shop over here in Providence, Rhode Island many years ago. He's a friend of mine. I've known him since I was 12 years old. These old linears, though, they're pretty much basic design. It's not too complicated. First, I'm securing it into this. It's like it's like a heat sink. Basically, that's what it is. It keeps the transistor from overheating. Most of the old tube linears it might be an old-fashioned design from the 1960s, but I find they work better than the solid state as far as modulation. Yeah, the modulation is so here's the old one. Modulation is much better in a tube linear than a solid state. I find when you use a solid state, it robs your modulation. But I don't think they make tube linears anymore. That's why it's worth trying to restore the old ones. So this is what it looks like. This is the burnt out one. Kind of like what you see on power supplies. Kind of similar in size. So, just checking something out. I don't want to put the wires on backwards. You know? Okay. I just got to put this tab on. This is for the hot wire, the red wire. Gotta screw it on. What's this thing right here? I gotta put that on. Screw this on. Tighten it down with the nut. Yeah. It fits perfectly. Okay. Get my needle on those pliers, tighten it down. There we go. All right, now I got to get these fasten screws and then secure it. And make sure I do it right. Sometimes I have to refer the diagram just to make sure I put it in right. Can't make any mistakes. You put the wires on backwards and poof, and that's the end of that. Hmm. Alrighty. Yep, that's the way it goes. Just want to make sure. I need a little screwdriver here. I'll probably use this for now. I want to make sure I put it in correctly. It's good. I put a new fuse holder here because it didn't have a fuse. I got a 20 amp fuse in there. Hopefully that fuse will be fine. But it didn't have a fuse holder, and I I can't understand why they made these things, or maybe it did have one at one time, but yeah, no linear should not have a. They shouldn't have a. They need to put a fuse holder if they don't have one. You know, some people remove them and don't put it back, or don't put another one in its place, and it ends up blowing out. And instead of the fuse blowing, the whole unit blows, or something seriously breaks, especially the transistors. Just getting these wires situated where they gotta go. Okay. Sometimes confined spaces can be a pain in the butt. Okay. Let me just review this. Take a look at this diagram again. Let me make sure I do it right. Let's just double check. Alrighty. Yep. Okay. Let's go to the next step. I got the soldering iron ready to go. This is going to require needle nose for this. Talk about a tight spot. What happened? I'm not sure about that connection. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, I learned from a friend of mine who, like I said, he had his own CB shop in Providence, Rhode Island back in the 80s and 90s. And he retired back in 2007, I believe. And he taught me a lot of things and tricks and how to run meters and doing testing and stuff like that. I never went to school for it. Kind of like, I guess I learned as I went, plus watching him through the years and learning from him. Wait a minute. I got the temp too up. It's up too high. I pressed the button by accident. That's not good. Okay. I don't like the way that came out. That's much better. So anyways, I used to volunteer for my friend. I'd help him out. You know, the guy was a genius. I mean, he would work on, like, I've seen him work 10 radios in a day, repair work, over 10 radios in a day. He got the education, went to school for it and everything. I basically just helped him out removing components and even sometimes adding components, just helping him out here and there. Okay, that looks good. All right. Make sure I got this right. Alrighty. It's all set. Boy, boy, if this doesn't work, I don't know what the hell is gonna do with this thing. Like I said, if it still doesn't work, then it's, as my friend Leo would say, unrepairable at a reasonable cost. Because it's just, I've already sunk in some money into this thing, and when I want to sell it, you want a return and a little bit of profit out of it. But if the cost is too much and the profit is gone, then it just doesn't make sense anymore. Just doesn't make sense. All right, these are the tubes. I kind of figured out why the relay was chattering, and it kind of makes sense to me, but maybe I could be wrong. But um, when the relay chatters, is because the transistor was gone, and when the transistor is gone, every time the relay keys up, it robbed all the power, right? And so the relay unkeyed because there was no more power to keep it locked in the keyed up position. There we go. It's one thing you don't want to have is any kind of oil on the tube. That's bad. It'll tend to fry it like an egg. And on top of it all, it could break the glass. Most people don't want to deal with tube linears because of the dangers of high voltage, and they have every right to say that because it is a dangerous thing to mess with. I'm trying to hold on a second here. Where's my needle nose? Okay. There we go. That one. I had to make these cap clips homemade because the ones that were here are missing. So I had to devise something and do some soldering here in order to make them. There's some things you just can't buy anymore because they just don't make them anymore. Hold on a second. I don't like the way this wire clip is. This connector here. Okay. Well, I guess we're ready for testing. Let me just go through my diagram again because I I put some wires back on the board to clip on. I want to make sure I got it in the right order. Yeah, 7. Six. Okay. All right, let's hook it up. Just keep these things far apart. I got a 30 amp power supply hooked up to it. Well, I gotta hook up the coax now. Let me get the coax. Okay. This coax. All right. It's either going to run or not. Uh, Blue, brown, yellow, black. Must be the red. Green. Something's not right here. I'm not going to turn this on until I look at this diagram thoroughly because maybe it burnt out because the guy before me had put the wires backwards. So I want to make sure these wires are not backwards. That's all I need, right? Okay, that's base. Yellow. Okay, well, that seems to be right. Hmm. Something is. Something's not right. On this transistor, I got red, black, and looks like yellow. Yellow, black, red, yellow, black. And then on this one, I have blue, red, and what it looks like is orange. Okay. Something's not right. Red is correct. Okay. All right. Well, let's give it a try, I guess. Tube's lighting up. Let it warm up for a minute. Oh, oh, something's locking up though. Something was locking up. Okay, this is what's going on now. It keys up, but then it locks up. I've had this similar problem, and I believe it was like a feedback loop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to do it with when it locks like that. I have to turn off the power supply to disengage it. But what I'm going to do is I need to tune this, try to get it to for this signal to go up here on the meter. And every time I have to unkey, I have to turn off the power supply. The reason why there's some kind of feedback loop in it, and I've had this problem with another linear that was just like this. So it's usually because it's a bad match or this is feeding back. Let me go to another channel where it's not busy. All right, so let's give it another try. This time I'm going to turn these potentiometer to change the. You see, it's got to be load and tune, load and tune. So nothing yet. So I have to figure out why it's doing that, and I have an idea, but I'm not 100% on it. Like I said, there is a problem with feedback. Let me try the bottom one. Nope. No wattage output. No wattage output. At least I'm making a little bit of progress. Nothing. Still nothing. Something's not right. At least it's keying up without the chatter of the relay, but then it sticks. See, not supposed to do that. All right, well, I'm gonna have to end it here. I'll have to do a little bit more analyzing. Maybe it's something minor, maybe it's something severe. I'm hoping to get it resolved, and then I'll just make another video, either showing the resolve of what the problem was and hopefully operating. With that, take care, people. Have a good one.